microphone. Okay, microphone moved. Takes a few steps here. Takes a few little steps. Hello, Twistbit. Hello, Starlight. You guys are always first. Hold on. Gotta transfer devices here so I can see comments. And there we go. Now I gotta go. So much to do here. Okay, then I gotta go to YouTube and look at the comments on that. Hello, entire Meyer. And here we go. So there we have YouTube, and there's some of you on YouTube and some of you on Periscope. Hardly anyone here tonight so far. We may have to call out the ammunition here in a moment, so we'll see. Looks like a great topic. I don't know. It's like Salvatore last night. I was talking about scamming, which I would presume would be, an interesting topic. And he said, well, low content, he said. I was hacked with a rat. That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about rats. I was hacked with a rat. So how do you know you're hacked with a rat? How do you know that? Hope Kelp is here. Why? So we can hack Kelp? Hey, Storm. Storm bro. How are you doing? So how do you know you were attacked with a rat? Just out of curiosity. Hello, Jason Wicks. Do you own Wicks? Sniper. Hello, Sniper. How are you doing, buddy? Okay, so go to YouTube, guys, and subscribe to my YouTube account if you haven't done so. If you're like somebody already follows me and you know what I talk about, and you may not know about my YouTube account, please subscribe to my YouTube account so then you can see the videos that I'm referring to when I do this broadcast. Hey, Sniper. Open source man. Hello, open source. Open source guy. Open source guy, I guess, works with Linux. So this right now broadcast is being broadcast to a Linux server somewhere, which is then restreaming it to Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch. So it's my server. It's a Linux server running. All my servers are Linux. So and there's the Linux guy right there, open source. Open source is the Linux guy. So welcome, my friends. Hello, Eunice Zabala. Are you subscribed to my YouTube account? Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube account before I forget. Please subscribe to my YouTube account, and then you'll see some of the videos, because I have so many videos and plan to come up with new one. Is it a CentOS server? No, I don't use CentOS. I use mostly Debian. Most of my servers are Debian. Some are Ubuntu. I'm a freedom guy. I am freedom guy. So most of my servers are Debian and some are Ubuntu, but mostly Debian. I'd say it's 9 out of 10 are Debian. And then on my desktop, I'm running, on my computers, I run Windows, I run Linux, I run a Mac, pretty much everything. But nowadays, I'm mostly on Windows. So I changed machines. I used to be mostly on Mac, and I use Windows most of the time. And then I have a Linux shell. So within Windows 10, I have a Linux shell. So I do all my Linux inside Windows. So it's a little bit more convenient. So then I can run all the stuff here. So that's my own setup. Hello, Moira. How are you doing, my friend? Moira. Okay, so 89% of distros are Debian based. Yeah, so I figure, like Ubuntu is, but I like to go to the raw side, since I don't really, sometimes I don't like to be controlled by the distro with a late release. So sometimes if I want to get something updated, I'll just try to get it directly from Debian, not not worry about it. But what do I know? I'm not, you're the Linux expert. I'm just a user. So I'm sure you know 10 times more about Linux than I do. I just know a lot about a lot of stuff, but not necessarily concentrated in one area. Hello, Moira. How are you doing, my friend? The topic today is what is the scariest thing that can happen to your computer? And of course, the scariest thing that can happen to your computer is if you get hacked with a rat. I'm a user too. I thought you were like an open source programmer. You're a user too. Well, I'm more of a user. I just use what's on there. I'm not involved with OS programming. That's not what I do. So I don't do OS programming. Anyway, guys, welcome. And we are in need of ammunition here. We seem to be have disappeared from the Periscope global list here, so we're gonna have to bring everyone's attention back since we don't seem to have any visibility on Periscope. So we'll fix that right now. We want to have visibility on Periscope. So there we go. So expect the throngs of people to come soon. A little bit at a time, it'll show up. Hello, guys. Hello. A little bit at a time, they'll sneak in here, and you could see, it'll just build up as they start clicking on that. Little bit, not much yet, but it'll show up. I guess I need maybe I'm not on the global list. Am I not on the global list? Can somebody tell me if I'm gonna go? Should I go to YouTube? Yes, Flea. Please watch me on YouTube. Squash makes me want to devour a steak. On Debian, everything is open source and free as in freedom. So open source, I actually, use only open source nowadays on my on anything I do on my desktop. Everything is open source, which means I'm able to shift. Some days, if I want to use a Mac, I can go to a Mac. If I want to go use Linux, I can go to Linux. If I want to go use a Windows desktop, I can use Windows because they all use the same software. So I can go to any machine and it's all the same software. If it's not open source, I don't really use it. I don't have Windows off. I don't have Microsoft Office. I don't use any of that. So if there's anything that can hack me from Microsoft, it's not going to be from Office because I don't install Office. So I don't really care about that. So anyway, the biggest hack that can happen to you, my friends, it's called a rat. So one of you said, Ben, you said you were hacked by a rat, remote access Trojan. How do you know you had a remote access Trojan? That's one of the most difficult things about a remote access Trojan is you don't really know you have it. So Ben, how did you know? What made you think you had a remote access Trojan? What made you think that? I'm going to tell you a little story here, guys, because this is what really triggered the scope today. What do you mean they took control? You can visibly see them taking control? Do they just run RDP, or what do they run on your computer? They just run RDP? I'm going to they put messages on the screen. Okay. That's they put messages on the screen. Oh my gosh. Okay, so why did you let yourself do that? Should have turned off the computer immediately. Oh my gosh. Okay, then reinstall everything from scratch. Why would the guy with the remote access Trojan even bother to let you know that they were watching? Why not just capture your data? Why not just capture the data? I don't understand. The font of what? What font are you liking there? The font on the comments? This font right here? So wow, that's like there's all of the people who are the number on Periscope must be like It's weird. The number on Periscope kept going down. Keeps going down. It's like only a couple of people left on Periscope that doesn't have anything to do with squash. Everyone else is from the squash group. Do I only have like 3 people watching on Periscope, and the rest are the squash people? Oh, there's a few of you here. This is weird. Weird numbers. Not sure I believe it. Okay, so let me tell you a little story. Let me tell you a little story today. Hello, Kathy Squish the Squash. Let me tell you a little story today. Somebody actually contacted me today and gave me a snippet of an email, and I'll tell you what the email says. And then it's the scariest thing has ever seen, I'm sure. And he just panicked like crazy, like, what the zuck is that? And the story, yes, Kathy, the story, not a piano story though. So the email said, hey man, I'm a hacker. Hello, McFanny. It's like, hey man, I'm a hacker, and I just put a keylogger on your computer and took control of your computer and took control of your camera and took control of your PC and looked at your files. And I turned on your camera, and then I saw you go to all these porn sites, and I took a video of it. So I took over. Just make sure we understand what is that he said. Hey, I'm a hacker. I'm an excellent hacker. I went in there and I took over your computer, and you had that email, and I took control of the camera, and I was watching what you were doing, and you went to all these porn sites, and I turned on the camera of your computer, and I took a video of that. And if you and I also have your contact lists. I also got your contact lists. So this is what I'm going to do. If you don't pay me in Bitcoin to this Bitcoin address below, I'm going to release your video of what you were doing with a camera to your contact list. And give me this much Bitcoin or else. And you better respond soon. Within so many hours, I'm going to do this. Okay, so now, I mean, let's just, for the sake of discussion, I received that same stupid email as a mistake. I don't have a camera. Or you have tape on your camera, as I do. If you have tape on your camera. But think about that for a moment. And you're like, okay, obviously it's a scam, but I'm going to tell you how I know it's a scam. But it's a scam, but it can be done. Unfortunately, it can be done that way. But if he really did it, he wouldn't do it that way. That's what's scammy about it. He could have done that. If he wanted to really get money out of you, the first thing he would do is show you a snippet of a video of him using the camera. If I really want to get some money out of you, I'll say, here's a 5-second example. And I'm going to use your name, and I'm going to identify your computer. And just so you know that I really control your computer, go look in this folder. You'll see this file on there that I put in there for you. Some evidence that somebody actually took over the computer. And if that were the case, then you're really zucked. In this case, there was no identifiers. Nothing was given, no example. It was just saying that, hey, based on this threat, I'm going to really zuck you. If you're going to do that, then you might as well tell me which contacts in my list would you send it to, because you don't even have my contact list. Oh, I have your contact list, and I'm going to send it to these guys. And in my mind, it's like, really, if how does it hurt you, hacker, if you sent me a couple of examples of names from my contact list just to prove that you actually have information? He did not. Hello, Jenny. How you doing, Jenny? So how did he how did he fare? And I immediately, I mean, I didn't even read the email. I mean, I looked at it and I just said immediately, scam. This is a very standard porn scam. Now, the reason the porn scam works, I can't get a hello, Mr. Compton. Hey, Jenny. Jenny doesn't use her name in Periscope now. Did you? You left it on YouTube, but here you're following my tips on Periscope. That's awesome. That's awesome, Jenny. What about that you don't visit porn site? Well, that will kind of like that will kind of destroy the hack, right? But what is very funny about this is that the hack itself is based on a probability that some percentage of the population will be using porn sites. So obviously that's not that uncommon. So let's say some percentage of the population actively go to porn sites on a day-to-day basis. So the phishers or the scammers would have a high likelihood of making somebody feel guilty and say, oh yeah, maybe he really does have something on me. And maybe this person is the minister at the local church. Okay, he may be the pastor at the local church, in which case then the blackmail fear would be a lot stronger, right? So again, attacks have a context, and if they pretty much assume that a certain part of the population will not really react to the email, but there's enough of them that the message is so targeted to those few that they want to hit, that the few that will see it will go panic and say, oh my gosh, is this really serious? So the person who got it was so afraid of it that he asked me if it was real or not, and without even hesitating, I took one glance at it and I automatically said, scam. Don't worry about it. It's a scam. Okay? It's a scam. So now having said that, I really want to tell you that to have a keylogger or remote access Trojan attack your computer is actually the most scariest thing that can happen to you. So we're going to talk about that. I know this particular scam is a scam to say I put a rat on your computer and pay up. But the fact of the matter is, if you have a rat on my computer, I don't have to pay up. If you have an actual rat on my computer, I'm going to tell you what you can do. Hello, I'm in it. Hello, guys. Let me see. Who did I miss here? So Kathy is there. Initials okay. How are you doing, Initials okay? Who did I miss here? So open source, of course. Tyre Meyer. So, and then I see Myra, and I see Wizard. And, of course, Ben was here. And who did I miss here? Custodian Services, Greek God. Okay, so how are you doing, my friends? So very few of my regulars are here. The rest are, squash people. So we got 21 of you on YouTube. So that's awesome. So yes, watch me on YouTube instead. We'll let the squash people be the ones from Periscope, and then the rest of you watching YouTube. That would be great. So if I actually put a remote control Trojan or remote access Trojan on your computer, I don't need to go ask you for Bitcoin. If I have a remote access control on your computer, the thing I can do is just empty out your bank account. Let me repeat that. If I have remote access control of your computer, I don't need to blackmail you. I'll just empty out your bank account. How hard would it be to do that? If I'm going to scam you anyway, might as well scam you the right way. So why would I need to waste time even telling you anything? If I have a rat on your computer, why do I have the question you should ask is why? Thank you, Ben, for being on YouTube. The question is, why did you do a remote access Trojan attack on the computer? What are you looking for? uh, you ought to understand what the purpose of a remote access Trojan is, and then it leads to what the intent is. And if the intent is inconsistent with the email attacking you, then it doesn't make any sense. Why, if I have remote access control over the computer, why would I even need to ask you for Bitcoin? Why not? I have access to everything. I can go to your computer and take all the files and watch you log into your bank. Oh, I'll do it on payday. I'll do it on payday. So I'll wait for payday. So, okay, the 15th of the month or bi-weekly or whatever the schedule is. And watch you enter your password into your computer, to your bank. And as I watch you enter your password, or your password may already be on your browser, because a lot of you do the save the password on your browser. Do you do that? Does anyone do that? Where you save your password on your browser and then do the autofill. It's called autofill, and it autofills your name, address, and telephone number and password. Do you do that? Autofill. So if somebody does a remote access Trojan attack on your computer, all they have to do is open the browser, go to the bank, do autofill, and all the information is already there. They hit OK, and it's the same computer, because they don't even have to worry about being identified about a different computer. There's no Face ID. Face ID on what? On Windows? You're already logged in. You're already logged in. There's no need for Face ID. Are you talking about Windows? I don't use Face ID on. I don't use the Face ID on Windows, so I don't do that. No, we're not talking about an iPhone here. I'm not talking about an iPhone. I'm talking about a computer. So if you're on Windows, you do autofill. I go to the browser, I go to Chrome, do the autofill, go to the bank, do everything, and find out what other websites you have based on your history on the browser. And then I can control your computer with a remote access Trojan, and I have what is called a keylogger, so I can go back and look at the keystrokes to see what passwords you've entered, and then I can do it directly on your computer or on my computer. Okay? So don't do that autofill thing. I've not neglected to actually talk about that in a lot of my broadcasts over the years. Haven't actually. I keep forgetting to say it. I want to tell you, do not use autofill. If somebody takes control of your computer, even physically or remotely, they can use the autofill to get your data. So don't do that autofill or form fill or whatever the term is. For the browser to fill out a form that is presented to you. Don't use that. And actually, some programmers are so dumb. There's a website for programmers called Stack Overflow, and some smart-ass millennial programmer said, "Why are you?" Because I said, somebody says, "I want to disable the autofill. I want to disable autofill on my website." And this guy said, well, they purposely don't allow you to disable that. And rightly so. Rightly so, because of, usability. Give your info to young couple for your products. Thank you, Subsam. Rightly so. I don't want to give... I don't want to affect usability, says this guy. So you should really be prevented from doing things like disabling that autofill, form fill on a website. And like thinking to myself, another stupid idiot. This is what we have. A bunch of people who work in Silicon Valley, and their mind is, who fucking cares about privacy? We don't really care about privacy and security. So yes, do autofill. Theodore Graham? You like squash, Theodore Graham? So yes, use autofill, and good luck with that. It's like just to show you an example of autofill. Back in the day, I had autofill on a computer, and my cousin came to my house and said, "Can I borrow your computer?" Okay, can I borrow your computer? And I said, sure. So he went to my computer, didn't have a login. Then he went to the browser, Chrome, I believe, and then he went to E-Trade. He went to E-Trade, and then he was trying to transact. So he was looking at the stocks. He was looking at the stocks. So went to E-Trade and just checked out the stocks, and then you told this one before, yeah. Yeah, wow, you remember this was a while back. I haven't told this story in a long time. That shows how long you've been listening to me, Sam. And then he left, and then I went to the computer and autofill. So I also have an E-Trade account, so I went to E-Trade, and his login was there. So all I had to do was hit OK, and there I was able to almost 4 years. Yes, Sam. Wow. So I was able to log into the stocks and see how much money he was losing, and it was quite interesting. He should have used the guest account. No login USB bypass using super command prompt. No login USB bypass using super command prompt in bootloader. Nowadays, most computers have no USB login bypass. All that, like my computer has that. And the problem is then you can't use Tails. Do you ever use Tails T1000? So my computer can't use Tails because of it. And then when you try to change the BIOS to allow that, the USB boot, it won't let you because it asks for a password to the system. And the password to the BIOS is not in the documentation. And there's no way to find out what the password is because there's no phone number to call. So I can't really get into the USB. The BIOS to change the settings. So that's one of the reasons why Tails is very hard to use on new devices. It's very, very hard. So that's why I gave up. I use my own cloud-based Tor router, which is Bytes Tor, part of Bytes VPN. So that's one of the reasons T1000. It is really, really difficult to give instructions to somebody to say, change your BIOS to allow USB boot, because most computers don't allow USB boot now, the new ones, right? They don't allow that. Okay, should I show this open source? Okay, I'm going to show the link there. Show the link. I downloaded man in the middle. What do I put in for type? I put in a website. You put in a website that you normally go to see if you have a man in the middle, and if the certificate is okay, then there's no man in the middle. It's really pretty simple. So let's say you go to brax.me. So type brax.me on there, and then if the website has no man in the middle, then there's no one interfering with it at that moment. Sometimes attackers may not do that like full time. They may only do the man in the middle, when they're there. So don't expect it to always be on. So you have to be constantly alert, especially if you're fearing somebody accessing your internal network. Anyway, back to our topic. You guys were asking questions here that are not part of the main topic, but I will answer them later anyway, because I allocated time here to answer other questions. So the scariest attack that can happen to you is a remote access Trojan. So what exactly is a remote access Trojan, and how can you be attacked with that? Will this be YouTube? It's on YouTube right now, Jenny. It is on YouTube right now. It's live on YouTube. You can watch me on YouTube. The replay will be on YouTube as well. So you're covered. You can watch the beginning. But we just started anyway. We just started. So how does a person attack you with a remote access Trojan? Now, remote access Trojan can be loaded on any device, and believe it or not, there's you can load a remote access Trojan on an iPhone. I send you the link, Mr. Rob, but it won't show. I showed it now. It blocked. I blocked the link. Can you? Yes, Wizard. If they know your password, yes. Yes. Oh, okay. I'm going to show it again. Okay, allowing the link there. I don't know what that link is, but I hope those are good links, open source. I hope those are valid links because I don't want to put a virus on there and affect other people. Let's start with a PC first. Let's start with a PC. So if I wanted to install a keylogger, how would I do it? Well, the sad part is you think you can actually prevent a keylogger by using an antivirus. I'm sorry to say that's not going to help you at all. So if you have an antivirus, good luck with that. If you watch my video on antivirus, I already said this. An antivirus will not spot a real hack, just like a remote access Trojan. I'll tell you exactly how remote access Trojans are installed remotely. One of the ways, of course, if they're not going to attack you directly, like online, is to do it by email. So the number one methodology for installing a malware like a remote access Trojan on your computer is to have you click on something in an email. So I've shown you examples where I can actually made a website. I made an example of a website. I showed you that. I'll make another short video to do a quick demonstration again. But I can show you a website which I can pass as a link to an email, and you click on the website, and the website is very legit because it's actually a website you know. But I modified it. I modified a website with clickjacking, using clickjacking, and then I send you the email, and the website looks legit. You click on it, and then that action of a click surreptitiously downloads a file to your computer. And then there could be multiple steps in here. The next step may be to cause you to look at that file, and the file looks like it's something legit, and then may have to execute some command to copy it over to your Windows folder. Once I copy it over to your Windows folder, that's the typical way a very, very bad malware is gonna attack you. Now, I'll tell you how to stop this kind of attack very easily. This kind of attack does not require you to worry about your antivirus, because your antivirus doesn't really stop this. Will that show up in your downloads? Yes, Jenny, it will show up in your downloads, but if you have many downloads, the file name can be very obscure and can be very legit sounding. So it could be a very legit sounding file. And in itself, it may not contain the bad stuff yet. It could be that it downloads it from the internet. I actually made one example where I made a batch file, and the batch file is the one that actually downloads it from the internet and then installs it. So the file that you click can be an installation file to something quite legit. It could install something legitimate, like let's say you go to a website and it says, here, download the secure key to log in. And you say, okay, secure key. Click on this, and this will create a password for you, and so on. And then it can actually pop something that looks like it's doing something secure. Now, it in fact may be doing what it says it's doing, but then on the side, it could actually be executing the file, downloading the actual malware from the internet and putting it on and copying into your Windows folder using the name notepad.exe or calculator.exe or something that you use all the time. Okay, something that's so legit, or say, here, install. This will install a extension. This will install an extension, except it's running from the executable file, not inside the browser. Well, that's pretty suspicious. But given the right context, it may be okay. For example, it may look okay. For example, it can come from your employer. It can come from your employer, and it could say, this is fill up a copy of your W-4. This is an online form for filling out your W-4. So you click on it, and in fact, it may show W-4 and or W-9, I think. So it could be, in fact, be a W-9, and then you click on it, and it does something else that you're not knowing about. Then it can copy a file over. That's one of the ways it's done, okay? This kind of thing is easily stopped, but it takes a lot of discipline. Somebody told me, and I just want to repeat this to you. I want to repeat this to you because it just shows, my frustration, guys. I am so frustrated that the file type doesn't help TU1000. I can rename a text file and actually make it an exe, and then come back later and rename it. That's actually how I do it. I download a text file, which is actually an exe, and then I rename the text file to an exe later on when I copy it over. So the file itself may not seem like anything. You might think it's just a normal text file, which you will download because it's a text file. And then I rename it with a second pass into something else. For example, I could download a text file, txt, rename it to a bat file, execute the bat file, will download from the internet, store it in the Windows folder, overwrite the file, and then you're zucked. Okay, so many ways of doing this. It requires a little bit of thinking about the what will cause you. It's kind of like doing marketing. What would cause the person to click this? A little bit of social engineering. Okay, now this is a tip that I've always said to you that I want to teach you again. This is very, very important on your computer. This is something you should do on your Mac, on your PC, and on Linux. What you should do is always create a user that does not have admin rights. Yeah, at work we block exe, so we rename the text file so that we can share. Yeah, I know. That's a trick. Most people do that. You send anything that's a txt, it goes through the antivirus, it goes through anything, and then you rename it. And so if I send you two files, one is the actual text file that goes into your download folder, and the next file I have you download is actually a batch file, and the batch file does nothing but does a rename. It's if it's separate actions, you may not even know. I could send you a file, you put it in your download folder, wait a week, then send you another file which will execute the file that's already in your download folder. Then you're not suspicious because nothing happened in the last week. And the name of the file is something innocuous, something that you believe could be okay. It's something very legit like Windows setup, something like that. Windows setup log file, dash 101. Something that that you're afraid to touch in case it messes something up. Right? So how do you prevent this? All you have to do, again, this is something that unfortunately it's very hard to demonstrate to you because I would have to get a new computer to demonstrate this since I don't have a setup computer for this on Windows. Is to, when you get your Windows computer and you install it, your account is naturally the administrator. So it's an admin account, meaning you can do anything. So that's a default on your computer. And that's probably the default when you buy your computer and you leave it like that. And that is the biggest mistake of your sucking life. That is the biggest mistake you've ever made, is to leave it like that. That is not the way. Once you get your computer, guys, from the store, or if you just reinstall it or reinstall it from scratch, the first thing you do is you go to your account settings in there and create a new local user account. Local user. It takes a few steps to do this. A local user account. Do not have any emails attached to it, nothing. It's a local user account. So you have to, it will say, on Windows, it will say, what is the email address of this account? Say, I don't have that. What's the name of this person? I don't have that. Just click cancel, cancel, cancel. And then just put in a username that is very obscure and don't actually put your name on there. Do not, this is the other trick that I want you to know about. Do not put the name. No, it's not a guest account. It's just a standard user. Don't, not a guest account, a standard user. Okay? The administrator has to create a new account with standard user rights. So only the administrator can do that. So you go log into the administrator account. You create a standard user, not a guest account. The guest account is even more limited. You can't really use a guest account. Win 10 is just too much zuck for me. Yeah, unfortunately, I have to do development, so I got to use all. No, Kelp. That's not what they call it. It's like saying guest Wi-Fi. No, this is not a guest, Kelp. This is not a guest. This is a standard, regular user, not a guest. So yeah, I open source guy. I use the Linux subsystem on Windows, or I run virtual machines on Windows, and I got to host it all on Windows so that I can run everything else. So that's how I do it. I don't, but I follow many techniques on Windows, and I'm not. My Windows is pretty hardened. So this is one of the things you do to harden your computer. Okay, you always do not use the admin account. Now, some of this is going to be a little difficult. Yeah, it's all you have to do is go to your account, create a new account, and then you can set this account to have admin or standard rights. If you want, you can temporarily give it admin rights if you want to install software, and then remove the right after you're done. Sometimes you have to do that. There are some software that just doesn't like running as a non-admin. For example, Streamlabs, what I use here. Streamlabs is zucked up. Streamlabs has a bug. If you're not the admin, it could stop my broadcast because I'm not logged in as a. For example, I'm not logged in as a. If somebody hacks me now, I am not an admin. So if I clicked on an email now and I downloaded something on here, and it tried to copy something to my Windows folder or whatever, it's not going to work because I'm not an admin. I don't have rights to those folders. Okay, the only thing it has rights to is to write to my user documents area. That's the only place it can write to. And it can write to desktop. It can write to the user documents area, and then it can't write anywhere else. So it's very easy then if you keep an eye on what's in your downloads folder, you kind of see if there's anything that you did not put on there. Here's the problem with just saying that you're looking at the downloads folder. I'm going to tell you right now, should you download a new chat app from Hank down the street? I don't think so, Tony. I don't think so, Tony. So should you where was I before Tony asked that question? Anyway, I was telling you. Okay, so don't have an admin account. So you're download folder. So let's say you're looking at your download folder and you say, well, I keep an eye on my download folder and I make sure that I know every file that's in there. That's not always so easy because this is what happens. Let's say you search the internet, and this is really where the hackers get you. Let's say you're looking for, I'll give you an easy one here. That's something simple. You want to download a audio program called Audacity, open source, Audacity. Audacity is used, to convert files and manipulate files and edit the audio files using this free software called Audacity. And so if you have a new computer, you're saying, I'm going to load Audacity on my computer. How am I going to do that? Then you go search the internet. For Audacity, and some of you don't actually look at what you're clicking, and you say, oh, here's one. It says download Audacity, and you're not careful. You ought to pause before you do that, okay? Don't just hit download. So I look at the screen and I say, okay, Audacity. Okay, I click on that. And is it the real website for the Audacity, I look at the HTTPS certificate to see if it actually says it's Audacity, and then I look at the download file, and often they will give you something called a hash. Okay, if it's an open source site, often they will give you a hash that you can download a what is called a hash checker. You put the hash of, after you download the file, you check the hash of that file against the hash that was indicated on the home website to make sure the file wasn't altered. 99.999999999% of you will not do this. Okay? 99.9999. In fact, maybe 1 out of a million might actually do this. Okay, but I have to do it because I don't trust what I download from the internet, because then it will take so much time to load software, then find out I've been hacked with a rat, and then I have to install everything. I mean, it's going to be terrible. That's just not necessarily MD5. MD5 is a kind of an old hash. So anyway, so you a typical hash is SHA-256 hash. So you check the hash, and how do you check the hash? You have to download what is called a hash checker. So there's Hello Diane Johnson. There's a hash checker websites. You can put the hash, and then it checks the name of the file. Then it checks the hash of the actual file against the hash that was given to you. And what it does a mathematical computation of the file to see that the file contents actually compute to the same hash value. And if the two match, then the file hasn't been modified. If the hash changed, then the publisher, the file that the publisher put out on the internet is not the same file you're actually downloading. This is not a shirt, it's a sweater, but yes, it is Brooks Brothers. Have you downloaded malware to run tests on it to see what it does? No, John, I that's not my... no, I don't do that. No. You need to, if that's your work, you need like a special computer for that. That would interrupt me all day. I can't, I don't, you'd have to keep reinstalling the computer to have that. So no, I don't do that. I would do that only like in a lab environment. He makes modern with IP address he stole and sells them, and he has modern on set on side of my house. What do I do? He makes modern or modem? What do I do? Well, Janice Thompson, just so you know this, unfortunately, Wi-Fi routers can be hacked. I mean, this is not a mystery. Wi-Fi routers can be hacked. I'm gonna give you a he did what? He actually hacked the modem itself or your Wi-Fi router? Which one did he hack? The modem or the Wi-Fi router? Or that one? Did he access it physically, or did he access it by Wi-Fi? Or do you know? If he accessed it physically, then reset the modem. Factory. Okay. Let's talk about the solutions to that, Janice. Okay, number one, reset the modem to factory. Okay, it's both Wi-Fi and, okay. Reset the modem to factory. That will erase whatever, if he installed something on there. If you can do a reset on the firmware, meaning download firmware from the, look at the manual, if there's a way to, if it's from the phone, if it's from the cable company, it's from the cable company, Janice, it's very simple. Just take off the modem, return it to the phone company, and says, I think there's something wrong with this. Can you just replace it? Okay? That's pretty easy. Don't even bother. The simplest way is take it to your cable company, if it's not your own modem, and replace it. Okay? That's the easy way. Now, let's just say that it is your own modem. Okay? Hello, Twin Mom. Hello, T1. Hold on. Okay, so that's the easy way. If it's not your modem, if it's from the cable company, replace it. Step 1. Okay, I'll tell you step 2 in a moment. Now, if the modem is yours, then you should do a factory reset, even re-downloading the firmware. It's very, very easy. It's very, very easy to install new firmware on a computer that will have a hack. The CIA, NSA did that. So there's many, many viruses that can actually attack the firmware. And the only solution is to actually re-download the firmware from the factory and then reinstall it, and then reflash it, reflash the router, which is obviously a few more steps. So in order to reflash the router, you usually have to go attach it to your computer. There's a lot of instructions for that. Then you download the file from the manufacturer, and then you follow instructions for reinstalling factory if that's your own router. If it's not yours, just return it and get... they suggest that you reboot the router often. It is suggested that routers be rebooted because a lot of the malware is actually resident only until the boot, and after you reboot, the malware is gone. There should be a button to press to reset router to original settings. That may not be good enough, hey? That may not be good enough. If the hack got into the firmware, then all you're doing is resetting the firmware that's already been hacked. You're just restarting the firmware. All it does is change the default settings. It doesn't actually reinstall the firmware. Reinstalling the firmware is a different step. Okay? Okay. Now, 3 steps here, Janice. And hey, we're not done yet. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is change the password. Now, with WPA2, that's a standard that we typically use in our router to be more secure, you will be hacked unless you have a 12-digit upper-lower numeric with special character. Let me repeat that. Your password needs to be at least 12 digits, upper case, lowercase, numeric, and special character. You have to have all of those characteristics. Uppercase, alphanumeric with special character. Has to be those 4. Can't forget one of them. Has to be one of those 4. It has to be at least 12 digits long. It has to be at least 12 digits long. If you do that, your modem will not be hackable for the foreseeable future. Okay? And turn off this thing called WPS. That's another way they can get into the router. Turn off WPS. So turn off WPS. By the way, I have a video on this on YouTube. So if you want to have the short version of this, just watch the YouTube video. But understand what I'm saying here. Reset the factory firmware if it's not your modem. Otherwise, get a new one from the cable company. Yeah, well, don't worry about that, Janice. We're going to solve that in a moment. Okay, then, okay, I'm writing it down. Okay, then make your password alphanumeric, so uppercase, lowercase, alphanumeric. So it has to have uppercase characters, lowercase characters, number, and special characters. Any number of each of the above. Do not have WPS, turn that off. Set it to WPA2, PSK, okay? And then that's it, okay? Now, what will happen is that will prevent the router itself from being hacked again. That will prevent the router from being hacked again. It'll be pretty difficult to hack that. Now, the only rule is that whatever you use for your password must not be a dictionary word or anything that can be found in a dictionary. So, in any language. Okay, so don't don't set it to something common and obvious. So, upper, lower, numeric, 12 characters with special characters, and that will take 800 years to hack. Can someone get router admin privileges? Yes, that's one of the things you have to do as well. Then you have to change the administrator password on the device. And you can set it to the same 12-digit password that I just told you, because you already know it. So since it's very hard to remember, that should be okay for now. Also, charge for extra line change router domain. Do not broadcast router name. That doesn't matter. Broadcasting router name is meaningless. Doesn't do anything. I mean, there's so many ways to attack that. You don't really. The router name is not going to. That's too easy to override. You can download software that can find the MAC address. You don't need to do that. I use the first characters and a phrase that only I know. Eggman jumped the rope would be MJTR. Yeah, it doesn't have to be that complex as long as it's not in a dictionary, and it has to have all those characteristics. Again, I also have a video on making passwords, and it showed you that you only need like 4 passwords to do most anything in life. You don't really need a million of them, but if it's complex enough, and you have 4 for reuse in 4 different cases, then you actually don't need a password manager. And the likelihood of you having a problem with that is pretty remote. That's in my password video. Again, there's a lot of videos already that I made on this that you should really, you will benefit from if you follow me if you subscribe to my YouTube account. So please subscribe to my YouTube account. I already have the password video, the Wi-Fi setup video in there, and other things. Now, let's assume for a moment. I will wait, people. I'm going to be looking to seeing if some of you are already subscribed to my YouTube account, so please do so. And I'll wait to see if you actually do subscribe to my YouTube account. But anyway, once let's just say that in spite of the stuff that I just told you, they still got into your home network. How do you do this? Well, one of the ways is they actually have physical access to your house. So if they got into your house and stuck something in your network to spy on it directly without using Wi-Fi, then you could be zucked there. But here's the interesting thing about this, guys. If you are running a VPN, if all of your computers in the house are on a VPN, none of that really matters. If you're running a VPN, it doesn't really make any difference if somebody gets in, because they can't see your traffic with a VPN on. A trustworthy VPN, not a bad VPN, because there could be bad VPNs. Okay, here I have one. I presume you consider me trustworthy. Okay, so I have a trustworthy VPN because you know who I am. I'm not some fictitious company or some big company that doesn't know you. I actually, you know me. You can come to me here. If I do something bad, you can announce it to people here and say, this guy is doing something bad. Well, if so, then let me know. Let somebody know. Many of you here use Bytes VPN already, so you all know that it's a good VPN because many of you are here, and if it in fact the majority of the people here are probably on Bytes VPN, and if there's something wrong with Bytes VPN, then you'd hear it from people here because they're here every night, right? So if they're happy users of Bytes VPN, then it must be a good thing. So anyway, if you're on a VPN, it doesn't actually allow a man in the middle from doing anything. They can't watch your traffic. You can't do anything. So you pretty much short circuit any attempts at being a man in the middle. Now, having said that, you still never know. I told you how to set up your computer to put a non-admin user on it. You should still tape your camera on your computer. I don't necessarily need to tape a camera on my phone. The reason is the phone is usually flat or in my pocket. And you need to use a camera for your everyday stuff. So if somebody turns it on, they'll usually get a pocket. Okay? And it's pretty hard to install a RAT on this unless they have physical control. We'll talk about a phone later on. Okay? Always go to Brax for help with a VPN. There you go. Ben, just when he has a problem, just goes to Brax and we'll answer the question over there. In a secure environment, we're not going to go email you your username and password like PIA does. PIA will email you your username and password and just announce it to the world. Hey, this is my username and password on PIA. Excellent. Great job, PIA. Since email can be read, then you just reveal it to all. Fantastic. Every hacker knows it now. They're going to reuse your account. Yep. Having so assume that somebody can still get into your computer. So you have to take the precautions, with the assumption that somebody can hack your computer and can do bad things to it directly. So cover the camera with tape. You ought to know that the reason they fear that is because of a rat. So if you got an email, just give you a theoretical here again. Let me repeat the story I told you at the beginning of this broadcast. So this person today showed me an email, and the email said this. The email said this: I'm a hacker. I just hacked your computer. I was able to turn you on your camera, and I was watching you go to all these porn sites. And I turned on the camera and was able to see what you were doing. And then I recorded that. And now I want you to pay me in Bitcoin, or I'm going to send a copy of the video of whatever you were doing with a camera facing you and send it to all of your friends or all of your contacts in your contact list. And you have to pay me in Bitcoin if you want me to not do this. So that was the email. Now imagine if you had tape on your camera. Just imagine if you have tape on your camera and then somebody sent you that and you automatically say, "Zuck you, mother." You don't have to think about it. You just say, "Zuck you, mother Zucker." Okay? Okay? "Zuck you, mother Zucker. I have tape on my camera, so what the zuck are you talking about?" Okay? The other thing that you can disable is, how do you disable audio? Now, most of you will listen to music on your computer, so you need that. But a lot of you don't need to use the microphone on your computer, correct? A lot of you don't need to use the microphone. So one of the ways you can keep the microphone from being used, you duct tape a phone. I called the agency, let them take care of the problem. Yeah, there you go. Kelp will say, just hand the phone to his control guy and say, "Hey, Chief. Hey, Chief. Here's my phone. Here's my phone. Have somebody, clear it. Uninstall drivers." No, that's not what you do on the phone. Okay, how I have tape on it. Good. Okay, so Janice Thompson, I think if you follow what I said there, then the guy hacking will know you have a strengthened environment, and wouldn't you too? Anyway, Janice Thompson, I think with the changes I just told you, you can pretty much appear to have a strengthened environment and pretty much be bulletproof, at least for man in the middle. And even if somebody broke in, which it'll be very hard to break into after the steps that I just gave you. Somebody yesterday, by the way, said that they hacked into a router using WPS. You don't need to put tape on the microphone jack. So you can actually do this, J. Colby, if you want. This is one of the tricks. Is you take a 1/8-inch microphone connector. Like if you have like a broken earphone. Any one of you have a broken earphone? You know, like one with a 8-inch plug that has a microphone on it, but one that you do not use anymore. Guys, snip off the end, cut off the wires. Guys, little trick here. Take an old headphone wire, one used for a headphone. Okay, this doesn't work anymore. Cut off the end so you just have the headphone connector with the mic connector in it. Assuming you have one of those that are mic and phone. If otherwise, you just need one that's a mic. Snip off the end, stick it into the 1/8-inch connector on your computer. Leave it there, and that will prevent anything from ever turning that on. Simple. Now, if you don't want to go through that trouble, I'll tell you a little technique that makes it pretty hard unless somebody actually controls your computer remotely. Okay, so this will prevent like somebody from doing a non-rat attack. This is what you're paying hundreds of dollars for a phone, and that makes it less sleek. Yeah, not on a phone. Not on a phone. I'm talking about a computer. Okay, because most hacks do happen on a computer. A phone is very hard to hack. Fortunately, especially an iPhone. iPhone is very hard to hack. So be happy about that. Your iPhone is not likely to get hacked if it stays in your possession. Every time you get an update from Apple, it actually will erase any virus that exists on it if somebody got a hold of it. Okay? So all you have to do is just like there's a new upgrade from Apple on the new on iOS. You know, every time you run an install of that, you're actually clearing out any potential viruses. So it's very hard since they're doing it so frequently now with so many bugs in Apple. It's actually pretty hard for the virus to stick in there. Okay, so back to your computer. If you want to turn off the mic so that the mic doesn't interfere and capture your voice, all you have to do is go to your microphone settings. Go to your microphone settings. So go to control panel, go to microphone settings and set the volume to off. Believe it or not, that's it. Since you're not usually using a mic on a computer, right? So if you want to turn off the built-in mic, most of you are using the built-in mic, and if you use a headset. If you're using a headset, the headset has a mic, which is a separate setting. But if you want to turn off the built-in mic, all you have to do is go to control panel, and usually the mic volume will be in the middle. Set it to off. That's it. Very simple trick. Your Red Angel. Okay, Janice Thompson's Red Angel. My goodness, that is so confusing, Janice Thompson. You're being very good with your names here. I can't even keep track. So if you know this little trick, it's just so simple because what do you have to do? This works on a Mac, it works on a PC, it works on any computer. It works on any computer. So that's it. Just turn off the mic volume to off, and then you're done. Now this doesn't work on a phone, so phone is completely different. Now, so that's a PC. I told you, put tape on a camera, set the mic to off, and that will prevent you from reacting to somebody saying, well, I hacked your account, and I did keylogging, and I saw you watching porn, and I have a video of you. And then you respond, you email back, you say, Zuck you, mother Zucker. Yes, this is for your desktop too. So this is what you, so if you, look, guys, look how simple what I said is. If you actually set your microphone to off and you have a tape on your camera and somebody says to you, email, I turn on the camera and I have pictures of you changing clothes in your house, in the bathroom, because I can see it through the open door from where the computer is. Okay. Now all you have to do is say, okay, I still have a tape on the camera. Okay. then go look in control panel and see if the volume is still set to off as you set it originally. And you can say, it's still off. So, Zuck you, Mother Zucker. What the Zuck cares what you're saying? Go away. You don't even have to talk. Just delete the email and move on. Although I would have liked to see the header on the email to see what their IP address is. That would have been interesting to see if that hacker actually, look at the header of that email. I would have liked to see the actual header of the email to see exactly where the guy is. I'd still be concerned about that email. I'd look at the header and see if they made a mistake. Because some of these hackers don't realize that the email is leaking their account. Here's one more important thing that I will add to this when you're looking at making sure your computer is safe from being attacked. I've said this before and I will repeat it. Your computer name, or otherwise known as machine name, the name of your computer, when you load Windows for the first time, it asks you, what's the name of this computer? A lot of you will say this is Red Angel's computer. This is Starlight Karaoke's computer, or whatever your real name is. This is Twistman's computer. Wrong. Bad news. Don't do that. Don't do that. Best to just say this is my computer 9999. Tinkerball's ZZZ. Just say this computer is my ABC 12345. That's the name of the computer. And here's the reason why. A lot of programs use the machine name and reveal it to identify who they're talking to. Give you an example. Some programs will actually use the name of your computer and send it as part of the email. I've gotten this. I'm telling you, people send me emails, and you may be on a VPN, you could be on a Tor router, you can be on all that, and then your machine name is still telling me who you are because you forgot and you called your machine Tinkerballs. And then it's still still showing on there. So every email you send out is still saying Tinkerballs on it. And it's like, geez, nobody told you that. Okay? See, I'm the only one that tells you this because I have a kind of a global view of things when it relates to privacy. Some people don't think this is important. This is not something that's going to be reported as a cybersecurity problem because it's not really a cybersecurity problem as much as it's a privacy problem. If every email you send out not only has your IP address, which identifies your home location, but if it has your name, what is the good of using some fake name on your email address when they find your real name anyway because you're sending it on the email header? How do I know this? It's actually from the email hackathon. Let me just tell you how I spotted this on several computers. I asked some of you to email me for the email hackathon so I can see if there's any vulnerabilities on your email before I did the broadcast. So in case you don't know what the email hackathon is, it's on my YouTube. And what it is I had people email me. It's discussed in the watch. Why don't you watch the video, Tinkerballs? It's like 3 videos in a row. Okay, watch the whole video. It's very entertaining. It's a lot to learn in there. So go to my YouTube and watch those 3 sets of videos. It's called the Email Hackathon. It's Email Hackathon. So watch those. I think it's on the Best of Live Streams playlist. Best of Live Streams playlist. I have to redo name. Okay, so you'd have to redo the name on your computer. Anyway, so I did the hackathon and I said to people, okay, whoever wants to participate on this, please email me in advance because I don't want you to email me live in the live broadcast and send your emails, and then your emails are going to have your data. So everyone started to email me in advance so that during the broadcast, their emails wasn't going to reveal the real information. It was safer. So if you look at the broadcast, very few people had any problem with their emails. Maybe only the trolls got got identified, but those who were not trolls were okay. And the reason is we pre-screened them. And one of the things that I found out was that some computers and some email clients will use the machine name as part of the email identifier. Zocked up. Really crazy that they would do that. But that's how we found that out. As I've told you before, your email actually reveals your IP address and reveals that your machine name. Is that the one where Comcast stuff showed? No, Greek God. No. That was a troll. That was a troll on the first one, the first part 2, right? He was on Hackathon part 2. Yeah. No, most people were safe. Which 3 videos are they? I don't see them. They're called Email Hackathon. They're on the list of videos, and they're called Email Hackathon. Just type Email Hackathon, Rob Braxman. You'll see them all. Do you think Trump will be... He doesn't believe his intelligence people. Let's not talk politics here. Diane Johnson, we're not a political scope. Come on. We don't talk politics here. Okay, so... this should be pretty good now. I gave you quite a bit of good info on. You can talk politics and Brax, Diane. There's a open discussion there, free speech. You can say whatever you want. That's a good place to do it. And I allow you. You can talk to anyone there. I may not be the one talking to you about politics, but there are many people who want to talk politics. And you're free to do that, and you can say whatever you want. Free speech. So if you want to do that, go to BraxMe, go find the free speech area and talk there. Or there's also an anonymous area called Political Rants. And if you go to Political Rants, you can say anything you want, and you're anonymous. Nobody knows who you are. Okay? So have fun. Anyway, this is very good background now. I've given you some really... important tricks on how to strengthen your computer. And notice that I don't even talk about the antivirus. The fact of the matter is the antivirus plays a very small role in protecting your computer. The one thing I've already told you is do not use a fancy antivirus. It doesn't really help you. So I'm going to talk to you about the next way that I'm going to attack your computer and install a wrap. Talk to you about the next way here. So this is the next way I'm going to attack your computer. Unfortunately, this is kind of complex. But if you understand some of the precautions, the same precautions apply if you have a non-admin account. This will help this. But let me just say, let me just tell you how someone would install a remote access Trojan on your computer. There's actually tools on Kali Linux and so on. Kali Linux is the hacker's toolkit. And there are tools on there to enable this. And this is how it's done. First of all, you look for a vulnerability. And this is what a vulnerability is. Somebody looks for the latest 0-day attacks. So there's a list of 0 days. And if you're up to date on this, the hacker, I'm talking about the hacker, let's say one of the hacks was the WannaCry virus, okay? The WannaCry virus, the way that worked was it installed ransomware on the computer. In case you didn't know what the WannaCry virus is, the WannaCry virus was created from the NSA. It was an NSA virus. The NSA created the hack. The NSA created the hack, the antivirus hack, and then it was leaked on WikiLeaks, and then all the hackers got a hold of it. Hackers are not that original. They copy. So they don't have the original idea. They just work on copies because 99% of them are not that smart. I've been enjoying your YouTube videos. Kelp, you Kelp, watching my YouTube videos and you don't subscribe to me. Thank you, Kelp. Appreciate it. I appreciate it, Kelt. Send it to the agency. Send it to all the three-letter agencies. So let them all watch it. Maybe they'll find a flaw in what I'm saying. They probably will. So if I find a zero-day hack, and let's just theorize here, common zero-day hacks are like, oh, there's another flaw in Flash. It's like every week there's another flaw in Flash, right? So yeah, okay, here's another one, and it's again in Flash. And many of your computers will have Flash on it. So, there's going to be another hack on Flash. And whatever the hack happens to be. So between the time that the hack was announced and the time that the fix is available, there's a time there when no one downloads the fix. It may take a while. It may take weeks before somebody actually says, oh, I better download the fix to Flash. A lot of you are very hesitant to update your software, so you don't really do anything for a week or two, even a month, 2 months, 3 months. So, and all you need to do is find those people. So what one does, this is really simple, is you scan for computers. You scan for computers with these flaws. So you scan for computers and see if there's a way in using what is called the zero-day attack. Now, the tool on for hackers, it's called Metasploit. So Metasploit is made by this company. It's Rapid Systems, and they make this toolkit which they sell, but you can use a free version of it. It's called Metasploit, and it will actually look for exploits and see if you have a vulnerable computer. Once it finds a vulnerability, it then finds an ability to install an interpreter, meaning like a command line. It can install a command line in the app via that flaw. So let's say the flaw is it corrupts memory, then it can find that, corrupt the memory, and install something in that area of memory, and using this program called Metasploit. So a hacker will go search and say, okay, I found out you have one of these vulnerabilities on your computer, and so I'm now going to install the interpreter, that my command line. It's called Meterpreter. So now I install, hello, iMusic Academy. So I install the command line there called Meterpreter. Once I do that, now I have control over your computer. From command line, I can do anything. I can turn on your camera, load some more software on there, make it persistent, do any number of things, because I've now taken over your computer. In anything that I've talked about here, notice that the antivirus is not mentioned. The antivirus is not mentioned here. Because the nowadays, their antivirus products are, trying to spot Meterpreter and Metasploit. But the fact of the matter is, if the problem is from a zero-day attack, no one has any protection for it, because antivirus products don't know how to protect from a zero-day attack. Nobody knows how to protect against that. That's why it's called zero-day. So if they know what the zero-day is, they can come in and then load and then take over your computer. Okay? So again, the safety precautions are exactly the same. If you have tape on your camera, volume off. If you have if you're not the admin on the computer, many things that that person will try to do, they can't do it with admin rights, so they're going to be stuck. So a lot of the stuff will be limited. Yeah, they can download stuff into the download folder, but it's going to be hard to do things permanently, and it's going to be hard to affect the actual Windows installation with just a few tricks. You can harden your computer with very, very few things to do here. This is not so complex. There is, for some of you, you may not know this, and I will tell you this. If you're running Windows actually has a ransomware checker. If on Windows there's a setting to prevent ransomware. Okay, I'll explain what this is. So anybody heard about that yet? I don't use it myself because it's really hard for a developer to use this because it prevents me from controlling my machine. But if you're not an expert and you want to protect yourself from ransomware, all you have to do is turn this on. And what it does, it limits. Yes, there's a setting on. Do you use Windows, Tinkerballs? If you don't use Windows, then you don't have to worry about it. This is for people who use Windows. If you use Windows, there's a switch in your security settings. There's a switch in your security settings. Yeah, this is a Windows only thing. Okay. If you're using Windows 10, there's a setting in Windows 10 to prevent ransomware. So if you check this box, what it does is prevents apps from running in directories that they do not control. So if the app is only, let's say the app is Audacity, the app will only run in the area that's saved for Audacity. It's not allowed to write elsewhere. Because that's how antivirus works. A ransomware works. It looks and searches for files in every directory and starts encrypting them. So this will not allow a write to a directory not controlled by the app. It's not a sandbox because you're still able to write in your space. It's basically putting a wall on the app and saying, okay, each app will have a walled area and you will not go beyond your walled area. That's basically what it is. Sandbox implies testing, which is not what I mean here. But I'm just saying how this works. No, there's no version. It's a ransomware. It actually uses the word ransomware. Let me see if I can figure out what the name is. Hold on. It's in security settings. So you go in security. Where is that? Update and security. Okay, security. Windows security. So Windows security. Virus and threat protection. There you go. Okay. Windows security under virus and threat protection, the same area where you start Windows Defender. There's a checkbox that says ransomware protection. I guess mine is turned on. So if you turn that on, your computer will not likely be attacked by ransomware. Okay, so mine is turned on. So Windows security, virus threat and protection, and then there's an option there for ransomware protection. It's called ransomware protection, and I checked that box. Again, what it does is it looks for the app, and each app is a specific area, and an app shouldn't be writing to the Windows folder. An app shouldn't have access to folders that it doesn't have any control over. So it will start to note that it basically is a policy to prevent writing to files. It's basically restricting the directory access to the app. That's really all it does. It just restricts the directory access of the app. And then that's enough to block a ransomware. Okay? So much here. All this neatness might be too much for some people. All this, for some, yeah. Yeah, it may, maybe it's too much for some, but I keep getting asked the same question, so people want to know. Thanks, G, for first app store called Aptitude. So, back to the ransomware question. Again, is it really that complicated? You don't need to be a techie to know this. If you go to Windows settings, any regular user should be able to figure it out. You go to settings, you go to security, in control panel, and then it says virus and what is it? I said it. Well, you have to hit the replay. So I don't necessarily think that's too techy. I don't think that's too techy. Okay, that's just a basic setting. Something everyone should know. If we start saying there's certain things we shouldn't tell people, then it's not a good idea. I mean, this is stuff you just have to know to protect yourself. Hi Rob, this is Marty from Periscope. Hello Marty. Oh my gosh, my super fan is now on YouTube. Hello Go Rice Girl. My super fan Marty is now just on YouTube. Go Rice Girl, how are you doing, my friend? Googler, I have been owned. So connected to the ransomware problem, do you guys do backups? What do you do for backups? We need hearts here, Tammy. Yeah, Tammy Sack. How are you, Go Rice Girl? I'm frustrated. Setting up YouTube, my friend. It's very hard. It's hard to be famous on Periscope, and it's hard to be famous. Even harder to be famous on YouTube. Very hard to be famous on YouTube, Go Rice Girl. I thought all you had to do was reach 1,000 subscribers, and then you're all set. And as it turns out, when you hit 1,000 subscribers, you just sit there and nothing else happens. 1095, I think. I don't know. I got one sub yesterday. Today I got 0 subs. I got 0 subs today. You can back up in the cloud as well. My only concern with the cloud ones, I have to research them more, and then I will recommend, after I've done some testing. The problem is if you back up in the cloud, you have to worry about the encryption. I'm actually not happy with the encryption mechanisms being used by some of the backup programs in the cloud. I looked at some of them. They look good, the operation looked good. So, but I don't know. First of all, it's not a password. It's not an encryption that you control. It's an encryption they control, which means they have the encryption. Meaning, who are they encrypting it from? From hackers, maybe. But if the government says, I have a warrant and I want to go take all the files from this account and decrypt it for me, then obviously they'll be able to decrypt it. So, it actually made me think, if there's a safer way to do this, maybe I can make my own service to do it, because if I'm going to do encryption, I'd rather have the key stored on my machine, not at the server in the cloud. I want the encryption to be something I control on my local computer, so that if I don't have the password, then you can't decrypt the files. That's not how they work. I've looked at the descriptions. They don't work like that. They work by having a common key at the backup software side. So they're really only encrypting from third parties, but the backup company, no, it doesn't matter. They encrypt before sending. I've looked at them. They said they encrypt before sending, but the key is also known to the backup company, and this is how they know it. It says when you want to restore, like I looked at the one that's the number one selling one in the backup side on personal backup, and it says if you want to restore, you click on restore, and it creates a zip file as follows. It decrypts the files on their server. This is what it says. It decrypts the files. Hello, Jazzy Joe. Glad to see you again. It decrypts the files in their hold on. Ask me that again, Jacoby. It decrypts the file on their servers, and then then you can download the zip file decrypted. Well, the mere fact, since I know how the encryption works, if you decrypt it over at the server side, then obviously they have the key. So the way to solve this, if the software has the key only on your computer locally, so that the files you get are encrypted when you receive it, and then you have to put the key to do it. So that's the only way I would trust that. So actually I said, I might, maybe I should offer that service, because I can make it so that the key is on your computer. That's actually not that hard. Because Braxby already has encryption with my files. So I could just put a end-to-end encryption and put the key on your server, which I already do for messaging. But you have a failed drive, you lose. If you have no, it's not key, memorize it. Just enter the key. The key is a word, a phrase. If you know what the key is, write it on a piece of paper. So it's just a phrase that that you can control. So that the only reason for that is so that the cloud software, the key is password. Just that the cloud itself does not know what the key is, so they can't go. Let's say that they get a warrant from some three-letter agency, and the three-letter agency says, "Okay, we need to look at the files in the cloud," and if it's encrypted, then the company will say, "Well, here it is, but we don't know how to decrypt this." Wouldn't that be neat? Can you really IP hop without using Tor, Tony? Without using Tor or a VPN? What do you mean, Tony? Because there are ways to do that. Yes. Tell me what you mean, and then I'll explain it to you. Tony, explain what you mean, and then I'll explain it to you. I just want to make sure you have you received any warrant for info? No, hey, I have not received any warrants of any kind. That was a canary question from Hay. That was a canary question from Hay. I'm going to tell you something, Tony, that's actually be careful about IP hopping using VPNs. They're not really using VPNs. They're using proxy servers. Okay, so that is not legit. Okay, many companies offer that. They say we offer, all like hopping over IPs. The only way to do safe IP hopping is through Tor. There are other ways to do IP hopping, but the only guaranteed way and legal way is through Tor, which is through the Bytes Tor or a Tor router. If you want the hardware, it's Tor router. If you want the software, it's called Bytes VPN. That is the only way to have safe IP hopping. But there's a trick. I'm telling you, some people actually can't believe this. So some hackers are actually saying, well, I don't need a VPN. I'm doing my IP hopping my own way. I created my own virtual trail, so to speak, hopping through people. And this is how they did it, guys. What they did was hack various no, Tony, I don't really care if it sets off red flags. Don't care. It can set off all the red flags it still can't find you. It can set a red flag, it still doesn't find you. So what? It doesn't do anything. Okay? You can and if you want to double it, you can use a Tor router and then use a Tor browser in between. Okay, so this is yes, but each proxy is actually recording your traffic. So anyway, let me just tell you the story. Somebody actually was trying to tell me how smart they are by saying, Well, I don't need to use a VPN because I'm using a my own private routing. And I said, it turns out this is how they did it. A hacker hacked many computers, so they basically have Trojan computers. It's like a botnet of several computers, and they're using these computers as VPNs. So they hack random people, and they're using those random people's computers as VPNs. Okay, neat trick. If you do that, you are in fact using a VPN. And if they say, well, who are you? Well, the owner of the computer is not going to know who you are since they're hacked. Okay? The problem, folks, with this approach is it's zucking illegal. If you're caught doing this, you're going to go to zucking jail. You're going to go to jail. I can't believe somebody actually came on my broadcast here and said, well, I use that because my hacker friend, gave it to me. And it's like, are you serious? You're actually openly stating that you're using this kind of methodology? I mean, that is illegal. That means they're using a botnet of hacked servers, of hacked computers. Okay? Not something. If you want to go to jail, go use that. Not me. We're gonna go do it the legit way. Okay, Tor is very legit. There's nothing illegal about Tor. Doing it that way may be more discreet than Tor, but it doesn't have any red flags. However, it is fucking illegal. Illegal as heck. Federal pound in the ass prison. Yes, illegal as heck. Don't do that. So if you're like proud of it, it's like, geez, you're proud of that. So somebody just unsubscribed. The botnet used to be for DDoS. Yeah, this is not really a botnet in the sense of a mass botnet. This is just a few computers. Okay, so I guess my broadcast is so bad that somebody actually unsubscribed to my. So I'm basically the same number of subscribers. I got 0 subscribers today on my YouTube account. I went from I lost 1 while doing this broadcast. So it's very discouraging. I actually feel like I'm not making progress. I have all these videos planned out, to post this week, and it's then I get I get this kind of response. It's just frustrating. So if you haven't followed my YouTube account, I'd really appreciate it if you do follow it, just so I don't get depressed. Subscribe to my YouTube account, and I won't get depressed. Keep chipping away. Yeah, it's hard, guys. It's really hard. It's really hard what I do here, and it's like no one actually appreciates what I do. So it's very, very frustrating. Yeah, that was just kind of a downer when I would just click on this and then I lost the subscriber. That was kind of a downer. I only gained 1 today and then I lost it. Thank you for the subscriber. Yes, I know who Look Perry is. What's her name? So Look Perry was with on the show. She was who was that? The one who had breast cancer. Thank you, Jazzy Joe. Thank you. Who was the one with breast cancer? The Look Perry's 90210. Thank you, T1000. Thank you for subscribing. Shannon Doherty. Okay. Yeah, I saw I encountered Sharon Doherty at the Mercedes-Benz dealership. We were picking up our cars. Yeah, this is one during 90210 days. This was a long time ago. So during the 90210 days, She was at the Mercedes-Benz dealership in Beverly Hills, and we were both picking up our car, and she was in front of me. She's in front of me, and so she had her car first, and so she was in front of me in line. So, coupe. What did she drive? I think just your normal, S-Class. She had a normal S-Class, I'm sure. Did you get her number? So anyway, that was 90210 days, because I lived in 90210 back then. Cool car. Yeah, I used to live in 90210. So lots of stars, obviously, and they're just part of everyday life. You see a lot of stars at the Mercedes-Benz dealership, but I just remember Shannon Doherty because of she's probably poor now, John, and she had cancer. She probably doesn't have much money. Why did you leave 90210? Because I wanted to live in Maxine Waters area, Mr. Compton. I said this 90210 is not good. I should live where Maxine Waters has control. So I wanted to make sure I demonstrated my politics by moving to Maxine Waters area. This okay, right? Go Rice Girl. You know Maxine Waters area, right? And then I'm not in Maxine Waters area anymore, but Malibu, is that better? Malibu is pretty isolated, John. That's like, too far away. Ugh. Go Rice Girl. Maxine Waters covers a lot of territory. She goes all the way to west of Sepulveda. It's still Maxine Waters. They filmed the show at my high school. Have you ever been to Van Nuys? Well, obviously everyone's been to Van Nuys if you've been in LA. I'm sure Go Rice Girl goes to Van Nuys, constantly. Not a fan. Are you a fan? Go Rice Girl, are you a fan of Ted Lieu? Because I happen to be in Ted Lieu's district. Are you a fan of Ted Lieu? I'm going to say, Go Rice Girl, say, no, not a fan either. I just happen to know what happened. You are buffer. Yeah, there, it recovered. Buffering for a moment there. Yes. Ted Lieu is a privacy advocate. I actually know Ted Lieu from long ago. When he was still in the state, before he became before he went to Congress, when he was in the state legislature, I dealt with him. I dealt with him in the state when he was in the state legislature, because I was in some political kind of role, a community role, and I had to deal with him. So I know that much, but I can barely see you. No sound. Why no sound? Why no sound? There's sound right there. There's tons of sound. What do you mean no sound? Can everyone hear me? Do we have sound? So your place doesn't go back onto the Hollywood sign. Sound is good. Go Rice Girl is closer. Go Rice Girl is closer to the Hollywood sign than I am. I'm pretty far from the Hollywood sign. I'm very far from the Hollywood sign. Go Rice Girl is closer to that. I am not close to that. Although Go Rice Girl is on the other side of the mountain. The other side of the mountain. Only 15 minutes from me. That to get to the Hollywood sign for me, an hour, and because of traffic, 5 by 5. With traffic, and I mean that's the most congested. I mean from here to there, it's like I'm on the most congested zone here. It would take me a long time of traffic to get there. Maybe even 2 hours in rush hour. In a normal quiet day, an hour. That would be a normal quiet day. It would take me an hour. It would be uh, no, it's I'm talking about, not the I mean, I could skip the 405 and take, uh, surface streets, and then you get to the 10 freeway, and then you got to go. What do? Hit the 101? You're gonna get stuck in there. You're gonna have to go hit the surface streets too. Oh yeah, Mr. Compton. Yes, guaranteed. Lots of traffic even on Saturday. Yes. So anyway, I hope that I appreciate the few that followed while somebody unfollowed. I think I got three subs while one unsubscribed. I got one unsubscribed and then 3 of you subscribed. I appreciate that. It really just makes me feel like I'm doing this and it's worth it when people subscribe to me. It's like it's very, very important. So if you want to know what some of the content is that I'm talking about, there's already videos there on setting passwords, which is part of the Wi-Fi thing. A video on the Wi-Fi, a video on the hackathon. It talks about a lot of stuff I've talked about tonight are actually all in existing videos. Oh snap, he might me and will try to get back. Oh snap, he might need me. I will try to get back. He might. I don't know what that means. Janice Thompson. I don't know what that means. Did you unsubscribe by accident? Is that what you're saying? Did you unsubscribe? Your favorite TV show on tech, other Silicon Valley. I don't watch TV, so actually, unless it's on Netflix, I'm not gonna go see it. So I don't watch TV, John. My TV is like Periscope and YouTube and Netflix. I don't really. TV is not. I don't. It's like nobody in this house watches TV. It's like our TV is only used for video games. That's about it. Nobody actually watches TV anymore. All of our computers are on YouTube, Silicon Valley, and HBO. I'm not on HBO, John. HBO is on TV. Okay, back. HBO is on TV. So, backups. I want to do a video on backups. Like I said, I don't think at the moment that there's I found a good solution on encrypted backups. So if I don't find a solution on encrypted backups, I might make a product like that. I'm going to have to research that because at the moment, I'm not sure that I would trust having an encrypted backup on the cloud unless I keep the key. And if I don't see anyone writing any programs that do this, I might write my own. Gone again? I'm not gone here. Did everyone leave? Should I encrypt my external drive? No, John. You control your external drive physically. So as long as you control it physically, that's not necessary. I mean, who are you protecting it from? Somebody physically stealing it? So no. I would say no. You don't need to. It depends on the threat. For the kinds of threats that normal people have, no. If you control the drive, no. I don't encrypt my drive because, I'm not... Who am I protecting against? If the police come and say, we're going to take your computer to see if you're doing anything criminal, like, keep child porn on your computer and such, I'm going to act like many of you. I'll say, I have nothing to hide. Here, go ahead. Okay? Nothing on there. So I don't even actually, this is my way. I don't know what is happening. I don't know what is happening, Ginny Thompson. Also, I don't know. It looks, you're right. It's like YouTube is kind of like lagging here. Periscope is okay. YouTube is lagging. You are correct. come out and come back in. That's how it solved it. I moved out, came back in. Simon, pick up. Okay, I recovered my YouTube. I came out and came back in. It's fine. How you doing, Simon? Pick up. So again, to repeat, I don't think that at the moment I'm finding a solution that's good for the cloud because of the encryption problem. And if I don't find a solution, I'll make my own backup solution and sell that service. But the key is to have one where the encryption is on your computer rather than on the server. So that if anyone hacks the server or gets a warrant, then they can't decrypt something if they don't have the password. Right now, most of the passwords used in encryption are possessed and controlled by the backup company. Which means if somebody asks for a warrant, then they can, of course, decrypt everything. So you don't want that. So I not for my files. If I'm going to have my files, I don't want that. So I'd rather have, the encryption stored where I am. Okay, so I will. That's a very easy change to do on Brax. I can actually maybe do a Brax because I already have my files, but I can have it so that the encryption is stored on your end. That could be a nice thing to add. So anyway, I'll think about that. No decision yet. It's just a thought in my head that something that I could do. Based on need, because some people have asked me about that. I haven't used File Vault, OS X, or Encrypt Phone yet. I don't. Again, that's File Vault or encrypting your phone may be more important, but encrypting a Mac that just sits in your house is encrypting from who? So in order for somebody to take stuff from you, they'd have to steal your computer. Is that something that's likely? Since my computer never leaves the house, then I don't really, and I don't even have data. My computer is made to be erased. I keep all my data on Brax.me. So I don't actually have data here that is worth stealing. I don't keep anything on my computer is made to run open source stuff, and I don't actually keep anything on here. All source and servers and whatever are kept on my servers. Hiding files from our wives. Yeah, sure. That might be needed. You think that encryption is going to work, Simon? But Putin's still going to get access to your computer, Simon, since you're in Russia. Putin still will get access to your computer. You will still get zocked. I keep 30K emails at home. Yeah, and you got a problem with that, Sir Calb? These devices have these services. I think by default they're on when setting up. Yes, they're not on. No, File Vault is not on. Wife knows me too well. Wife is scarier than Putin. She knows what I'm thinking about before I do. That's funny. That was a Hillary referral. Oh, Sir Cal was like, making me remember 30,000 emails is from Hillary. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, so somebody just I just recognized somebody coming in here. It was who was that? It just came in briefly here. Maybe to ask when setting it up about encrypt. Yeah, it's by default it is off on the Mac, and that's really an issue when you have a you keep data on your computer and your computer might get lost. Like if you're if you're traveling, if you're corporate user and you travel, that might be important for you to encrypt. Okay, Stormy said, "Relax, get a massage." Okay. So that might be important to encrypt. It depends on the risk factor for you. I don't. My computer is set to be erased. I have a different idea of threat. I look at my computer as disposable. I actually have several computers, and I shift computers all the time. Let's say that I want to, let's say that my computer breaks down and I need to use, let's say that I have an HP here, okay? Let's say that my computer breaks down and I have to set it for repair. Now, I have a spare computer and I have a Mac as well. I have spare Windows and spare Mac. So let's say that my computer needs to be repaired, and I said, okay, I think I'm going to get get this repaired. So how do I do it? In my case, I actually don't need to do anything because all of my actual files are kept in the cloud. So I have servers in the cloud where all my actual files are, and they're encrypted on there. And then when they can't be reached by ransomware, they're out of reach by that. They're all in restricted space. So when I need to change computers, I just download the files I need to keep working, and everything I do is open source. So I'm back, and I can reinstall my computer and get back up and running pretty quickly. Like I'd say within 4 hours, I'm up and running, installing Windows, doing all that. I can start. It may take me a day to get all the software that I want to get loaded, but within about 4 hours, I'm done. So I do it actually pretty often. I have a schedule where every few months I actually reinstall my computer, because you never know if you got hit by remote access Trojan. You never know that, because somebody actually hits you with a legit remote access Trojan isn't going to let you know. If the 3-letter agencies are spying on me with a remote access Trojan, I'm not going to know it. I'm very careful what I click on so that I don't actually even open email. So I'm not likely to get it from email, and I have a very protected environment. But what good-looking monkey? You sound like Jay. Monkey Man Jay changed his name. Monkey Man Jay changed his name. So my style is to have a disposable computer, and I think that's for me is the safest way to think about it. A lot of you will have very complex computer setup where you have so many files on your desktop and many things in there. I actually don't think like that. I don't think like that. If you don't want to use the cloud for backup, I would put my files. Thank you, I'm in it. Thank you so much. I would put my files in separate drives, like portable, removable USB drives, and then make my computer pretty basic. That way I can change computer and be up and running in a few minutes. I love to reinstall frequently, but seriously, not too much effort to set up every time for my wife. My computer for family members is always set up the same way. I always set it up with very minimal setup, and in most cases they just need email, and if I always do IMAP for email, so the email doesn't have to be on a device. Okay, so if I map it, what does the typical user use? So your wives and kids, what do they use? Typically a browser, an email, some software for doing stuff, and you always just tell them to keep it in the cloud. In my case, I tell them to store it on Brax.me, and that's it. So there's not a lot of stuff on the computer itself, because since most of the time they're just using browsers. Hello, Claire Peters, my friend. How are you? So I'm going to work on a lot of videos this week, guys. I'm going to work a lot of this video. So I hope you subscribe to my YouTube account. Just make me feel like it's worth doing this. If you subscribe to my email account, my YouTube account, then I feel like I'm gonna feel good about doing these videos. I want to do a video about identity theft, which is what I scoped about yesterday. I want to do a video on people who have nothing to hide, so we can share it to our friends. Peabody, T1 here. Okay, Peabody. Okay. Should be using an image of a fresh install. That's obviously the easy way of doing it. Set up a proper install, clean one the first time, back it up, and then if anything happens, at least you get back to that version. Yes, that's. I don't even do that. I always install from scratch. And the reason is the OS gets so out of date. If you think that works, the OS gets out of date, and I don't have a clean copy, so I always want to start fresh and clean again and again. So just to guarantee that's all, I do it so fast now it doesn't even matter. Again, because I keep no software on my computer, and I use only the same list. What I do, T100, is I have a preset list of software that will install, and I already have it listed. So I have a procedure. I have it written down. And I put it on my Braxme account, so I know I have my notes there. So install OS, and then install, OpenOffice. The FTP. What do I use here? All the different whatever I use for everything I do. I load all the browsers for browser isolation. And most of the software, I for example, for my video making, I use Adobe Premiere Cloud. It's all cloud stuff anyway. There's actually nothing on the device. So I'm looking at the list of software I have here. I have very little software that I actually have to install now. Everything is cloud. Yes, I have to do I have to think about that. Tim Bear, this nothing to hide thing is, there's a movie, Nothing to Hide, a documentary, and the problem is it's too conspiracy theory, which may appeal to some groups but not others. But when I say nothing to hide, I'm not thinking necessarily, that it has to be a, Illuminati. I mean, I have some specific companies. I mean, I can tell you about Palantir, what Palantir is doing and what Jigsaw is doing. And that's enough to, make me shake in my boots. I don't need to, consider a conspiracy theory made by the New World Order. I don't even have to think that. I install most Microsoft stuff and change my services to disabled and manual. I do not install any Microsoft stuff, Peabody. That's the difference between you and me. I've been to the outside of the Oscar parties when I was younger. You stand outside and watch the stars go into the Oscar parties. I have no connection with Oscars, so I would never be invited to that. But I've gone to some of that because I used to live close to the Spago's restaurant, and I could just walk to it, and then you see all the stars coming in and out. So then you get to shake their hands and whatever, because as they walk in and out. So that's about my only exposure to. That's about as close as I got to the Oscars. But saw a lot of stars that way. I saw quite a few that way, all at one time. It's like you don't have to see them by accident on the streets. Okay, so that's a lot there. So I'm going to get autographs. I never get an autograph. I don't have I've easily met or talked to At least 100 of them. I'm starting to venture out of my comfort zone and going to start doing vids, movies, maybe live streams. So I'm learning about OBS. It's complex. It's not complex. I use it every day. Is it complex, Russ? It's not complex. I'm using it all the time here. Not a big deal. So anyway, I'm gonna do these videos this coming week, and I have a lot of gigs this week. Oh my gosh. I have not seen Clint. No. I know people have seen Clint, and he was nearby, but I personally have not seen Clint. But I know people he was at the university near us here, and I wasn't there, but the students at the university got a chance to talk to Clint. Yes, Clint plays jazz. Yes, he doesn't just play piano; he plays jazz. He's just like me. He even did a jazz documentary. So yeah. So anyway, subscribe to my YouTube, guys, and I will, the one that requires a lot of thought is the nothing to hide thing. That's gonna take me a lot of time to think about it. That's a very important video. I better do it right. So I got to figure it out. My head's spinning. Like, how do I do this? Only way to do it. So anyway, I'm gonna think about it, and then. When Clint plays, you better dance, or what? You feel lucky, punk? You feel lucky, punk? Go ahead. Dance. Make my day. Oh, gosh. Okay. Can't be an actor. Not in my genes. Okay, so I will work on that video this coming week, and I'll see you. Yes, hey, very bad. I have a music band rehearsal here in the house on Thursday. So I have it here on Thursday. So I will do that. I'm actually thinking if I should use my account, because not sure how to do that, but that's going to be on Thursday. So I will play music on Thursday. I have a gig on Friday. I have a gig on Saturday. I have a gig on Sunday. I'm going to be really tired during my broadcast because it's going to be right after every gig. I'm going to be busy with an all-day gig on almost all of those days, and then I'll be broadcasting at night. The concert you filmed was good. What concert? Oh, thanks, John. Okay, so so I have multiple gigs. I will not broadcast them live. I will try to broadcast them later. Yeah, working man making no money, wizard. Making no money, but gigs pay money, so they do pay. So I will broadcast it at a later time or load it up on YouTube. So we'll do that. So at the moment, the only change in schedule is perhaps a broadcast on Thursday. Otherwise, it'll just be videos for the rest of the week. So watch the videos in a couple days, and then no live stream till Thursday for music, and then back to normal schedule next Friday. Thank you, my friends. I'll see you on Thursday. Good night.